Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to this show. And we have a singular fly who has, for the last 45 minutes, tortured everyone in this room and could not be killed. It is the immortal fly. I have decided to teach and to see if this fly will make itself on camera. Ha! Challenge to you, fly. That's right, fly. I see you. Oh, there you are. Yeah, that's right. Keep going. Anyways, enough of the lessons of the flies. I want to welcome everyone. We are going to be having a unique conversation today. We're going to be trying to understand choices, how choices affect us, how different forms of choice points come into our life. We're also going to learning the power of you and the power of now. Each and every day, we decide to live in this generation of the now. One must take time to observe their surroundings, seen and unseen. What is your seen and unseen world? Ask yourself this question as you sit here now. This is my seen world. The unseen world is everything that is in between us. The unseen knowingness and unknowingness. The shaman's path has many valleys, gorges, mountains, and expressions that seem impassable at the moment. Though, when we look back with hindsight and foresight, we were just expressions of the self-defeating inner programs we all have. For one to not succeed on the path, it is to find the unlimited point of view. For not succeeding is the finite point. When one is in full succession, each person will come to their own unique shaman's death in a different way. Each being has their own unique blueprint. Within that unique blueprint, they can be the shaman on a path that is defined by the companionship with the internal, eternal being we are. The shaman is willing to look at his family and friends, surroundings, and chart a course of ancestral balance of unseen and seen energy. The shaman's path is fraught with expressions of former selves who hold illusionary power of their selves here in the now. It has no price or agenda. We, as the I am beings of the now, were born through the natural way of living and breathing, as beings, living, breathing beings of remedy and resolve. We are here to be spiritually contract-driven, I am source-connected beings, here to understand the unlimited point of view. I want to bring this unlimited point of view to you. For each person will find their own path to the unlimited point of view. And in essence, the unlimited point of view and the seeking of the unlimited point of view is the act of transformation, transmutation, and transcendence. For within the unlimited point of view, you will see each of the limitations of the previous points of view that prevent the unlimited point of view as being an option to choose from, when it is your inherent birthright, your inherent legacy to be here, in this unique signature frequency, with friends and family present, and life forces interacting on the highest and the lowest levels, both positive and negative, in equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order, each being finding the lessons they need synchronistically through the order of the celestial being who has made their presence a part of our presence, known as the Akashic Record. For all experiences as beings of light are recorded in light. And that in recorded of light, we speak the next lesson of the shaman's death. Each being has its own point of view over the layerings of spirit throughout linear and nonlinear time. In the seen world, we are seen for what our residual image represents to another point of view. Think about your residual image. Who do you see when you look in the mirror? What do you recognize when you look in the mirror? There are many people that do not look at their own image in the mirror. So how is their residual image? Through pictures? Through video? Concentrate on what your residual image is. What makes you recognize you throughout the many years of your existence? You can look back on a picture of your 11 going, that's me, or heck, even a picture of you as 2, where you may have the eyes looking out at you. Engage those terms, residual image. For the residual image represents the other's point of view. Do they see us for who we are, or do we see what we portray and they interpret what they see to their point of view? That is all concepts mixed in a soup of understanding created by the impressions of those that it raised the person to understand. They too have a sacred point of life view, and their life walk without others trying to secure or unsecure their point of view. Learning our interconnectedness is for the unlimited point of view. In resolving spiritual contracts through synchronicity processes that surround our seen and unseen world. The uniworlds are layered over the seen world we live in. Within the layered uniworlds, we exist in non-duality. It is choice to be present in the ever-present moment of self-awareness, in the uniworld's presence of our layered reality's belief. Each being has its own point of view of the layerings of spirit through the linear and non-linear life path of perception of time. Perception of time is the mechanics of memory, and the mechanics of memory are in light. There is no full location in time-space where memories exist. They are a coded frequency of light in a stream of light, stretching through many forms of time-space, connecting to an avatar source who is source-connected and interconnected. Our parents and siblings are key co-creators from our former selves. They, each individual of our mothers and fathers, imprint upon us a whole new form, a form of interpretation of their view of the reality, and their parents' view of the reality, and their parents in the view of the reality, all the way back 7 generations of imprintment. So physically, each person has a drawing, a yearning to resolve the energies of the others, for it is in the DNA lineage to do that. So if anybody has any questions so far about what we've talked about, we're going to be getting to the unlimited point of view and the choice points as soon as my document stops going haywire. Do you have any recommendations coming for the upcoming solar eclipse? How can we best utilize this energy? Create ceremony at that time? Is it beneficial to actually be in the path of this eclipse? Is the deeper understanding of the energy around the eclipse? Great question, Lori. So this is not a time to be in public ceremonies or public celebrations that don't have, public ceremonies that don't really have true spiritual hygiene behind them. If you know the person and you actually know that they practice the ways, then go ahead and be a part of celebrations in those big eclipses. But if you're in the cities, it is the time you must be very wary. This shadow will be on the move. Your shadow, their shadow, and the ghosts out there that have shadows, and those ghosts' shadows who have shadows. That is going to be a time where shadows like to make their puppetry moves or feed on the cake they've been waiting to eat on for quite some time. The tasty little morsel. Conversely, those that are capable of creating sacred space and having ceremony on your own, this is the time to do it. This is the time that the eclipse means something individually to you. Are you dependent or independent on others to have an eclipse ceremony? Can you truly get joy and happiness out of doing it yourself for your own creative experience? We have a plethora of tools throughout the Galactic Historian website here that you can use to make those ceremonies sacred. There are a variety of things you can do. If you can't do an outdoor fire, you can get a little gas grill and boil a pot of soup on top of it. That is fire transmuting into water and metal into steam. And that is your alchemical fire, in which you can put your prayers in, that gets spread to the allness of the world that surrounds you. So other recommendations, This is the time of great healing too. So if you're one that does not regularly do your own self-healing, your own self-nurturing, it's been months since you've gone and had a massage, or it's been years since you've gone and had colonics, or it's been a decade since you've done a fast, that is the time you should consider beginning that on that eclipse, or ending it around that eclipse. Why? It's a high energy day of shadow. Conversely, when people are doing it for healing and are already ready to take on the shadow and know that the shadow can be reduced very easily with inner discernment and prayer, and through that inner discernment and prayer, you have an opening to inner communication that you know is not shadow, that you know is source connected, guides, guardians, angels. Do you trust yourself on the day that shadows are strong, but the light is also very strong? For in the eclipse, the daylight becomes darkness, which becomes daylight, which naturally changes your frequency, the amount of light that you are constantly, regularly getting each and every day of each and every year. And our souls are aware of eclipses coming. The bigger choice is, what are you going to do with it? Does it need to be all fanciful? No. It needs to be having true heart space intent behind it. Now, for people to feel true heart space independence, interdependence around it, means you really have to know how to love the self and all of the skill sets, or the majority of the skill set says that takes to maintain love thyself. For instance, the act of self-healing and self-nurturing is knowing when you've done too much, and knowing when you've done too little, and be willing to relax the body from all external perceptions and all internal dialogue until you reach a state of silence. In the state of silence, the mind can enter the knowingness of the DNA. And within the DNA is all the encoded frequencies of light that we begin to interpret through empathy. Empathy evolves into clairaudience, clairvoyance, or inner words and dialogues. Then, eventually, vision evolves, based off your belief in yourself, based off of the belief in the material that you're reading, because it's based in prayers. And when I say reading, you must go through the transmutation process of writing some of it down. For it to have the impact upon you, you must go through your own alchemy of creation, of what it takes to learn the encoded frequencies of light. Andrew, have you shared techniques with us for storing? You've shared techniques with us storing more amounts of light in the body and more amounts of energy. Can you also share techniques for storing more love? I can access the energy of love, but I don't know how and where to store or keep it, so every time I am in a challenging situation, I end up lacking love. Thank you, dearest Andrew. Love is an unlimited frequency source, so you are never not connected to it. So there is no actual point in storing, though we memorialize and celebrate and venerate aspects of ourselves, internally, externally, and as objects. So love is our placebo belief reality enhancing system, knowing that we are connected with love and creating a love signature frequency around people, places, objects, things, memories, etc., etc. So when a memory of love, that is a stored form. So there is where you may want to begin your pushing of your personal mental envelope of gathering pictures of the most fun times from your life and going and observing them. And do they trigger emotions of fun and happiness and joy? And what does it take for you to go into that picture and empathically feel that process? Empathically feel it at such a level that it co-creates with you doing that reemergence process. Do you have the trust for that? So that is accessing the unlimited love store forms. Now you're saying there are times you find yourself in challenging situations and that love may be lacking, or the perception of love may be lacking. Here is where DNA is also an interference pattern here. For the changes to our DNA around 11.5 million years ago brought in the adrenal gland. And the adrenal gland is connected to the medulla oblongata. It is what determines fight, flight, freeze versus love. Love was always to be our first choice option. And when it is that first choice option, you become the highest density and dimensional being present in this light frequency of time. It is the very nature of how nature works and functions. So love is that great unlimited point of view. All right. Is it effective to create a vision board and create what we like during the solar eclipse gateway? Vision boards are always fun. I like to go a little bigger. I'm a collage person where I will cut stuff out of magazines, or I'll go buy a few dozen magazines and start cutting stuff out and make my own collage of what is the perception of physical to what is the perception of spirit. For ultimately, these eclipse moments are perception of spirit. So having a vision board is, what you're perceiving. I encode my creations, and a vision board is a way of organizing and then creating the encodement through the creation that's in there. It's just another form of doing the same thing. Making it a little bit more in-depth adds a high frequency of energy to it during the eclipse, because you are challenging yourself on the highest forms of creativity. Another thing that eclipses could be doing is not just a vision board, it's where you make ceremonial clothing, especially protective clothing. Let's say you want to make a protective shawl that could protect you during X time, or something that you can give to others as a protective shawl. That's something ingrained into everyone's DNA lineage. Whether you're a man or a woman, you have in some lifetime made thousands of clothes for thousands of children that you've had so that wouldn't die in the winter. Well, it was only the last 150 years that clothes became really mass-made, where everyone else made their own clothing at home every day. It is that close to your lineage. 3 generations out. 3 generations ago, they didn't have everything we do. They didn't even have telephones. Okay. Time and choice. What choices brought you here today? There was the choice to wake up, the choice to go to the bathroom, the choice to get happy, the choice to do this, the choice to do that, the choice to this. Every moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment, up to this last moment, there are millions of choices at hand. But there are certain choices that we make every day that are called choice points of adherence, things that lock us back into a previous form of reality. From that point, forwards and backwards through time, and all time-space permutations, I, the being of the now, become the integrator and disintegrator of the distortions and non-distortions in my frequency. The choice points were simple. It's the version of the self in distortion of the law of one, or is it in alignment with the law of one? There will be many sub-choices of free will that allowed natural co-creative evolution. This is why I exist in the now, in these places of space-time frequency communication in the manner I do. Now is the time for changing the view of the distortions and non-distortions in your point of view. What is your distortion point of view? What is your non-distortion point of view? There are some objects and ways that we can look to discover distortion in our point of view. Common one is when you look at a baby. What is the emergence emotion you feel? And if you're truly honest for yourself, the first emotion you feel is what you are lacking. There are all sorts of autonomic response and nervous system things that begin to reveal those distortion points. Flipping points, where signature frequencies have been flipped on us by some external source or our own internal doing. When we become self-observant of these choice points, we get a better understanding of the being of the now is the divine co-creator out of sheer willpower to be in a world of anti-will power. All choices have no resistance in front or behind it. It only deals with the distortion with the self. Those choosing any form of sacred living will experience a transformation of choice points that will help them disengage from the choice points of distortion and return to a non-distortion point of view, step by step, choice by choice, until the unlimited point of view is a part of your standard choice points for all aspects of your being. And that any external source that is not in alignment with the unlimited point of view is not your same frequency and density, and must be treated with its own hierarchical concept, so you cannot entangle with its hierarchical concept. You free it from its perception of you as a hierarchical being. What is a choice? Really think about, what is a choice? Each individual has their own view of what a choice or a non-choice is. Each person must ask themselves, what are the mechanics behind my choices? And what are the choices I made that made a timeline of choices the chooser of choice points must adhere to? Think about that. The timeline of choices the chooser of choice points must adhere to. That is when hardcore decisions were made early in the day, week, month, year, or decade that still affect us all at this future time. Choice points of adherence, vengeance, hatred, anger, jealousy. Those are all choice points of adherence each time you fall into those frequencies. To ultimately be letting go of those frequencies is allowing something else to replace them. Something that is not that negative production or repetition without illumination. This is where bringing in the act of self-healing, self-nurturing, and interactions of love, prayer extended at the highest levels, or the level that you can create at now, so that you begin your journey to the joy of prayer. Until such a time, it is such a natural skill that the mystical is at the fingertips of your voice, your word, your intention, for you are part of the divine sacred co-creation of the union of divine masculine and feminine simultaneous now, with the Great Spirit working through you in a lunar layered world. All right, so we've got a question here. I would like to know about tips to protect our work, website, art on the internet to make sure that the information is not being influenced or altered by the system anyway. Is there any method to deal with artificial intelligence and trolls on the internet blocking the information from spreading? So if you are signed up for the email list, which you should be, you should have gotten the troll revocation. What you can do is look for the troll revocation in your email. That is to take care of trolls. Now, artwork, music, artwork, I have my own point of view on what we're going to just use a legal term called intellectual property. And it is your mystical intellectual property that I think you're really asking about. Your art on the internet, your website, that is your living the mystical life daily, your own, that's yours. And you have to be able to separate law from universal law, from what you believe is spiritual law, to what it is that you can actually do. Because it's really based off of what you actually can do for yourself. Just as if you could sage your house, it is possible to sage your website. I do it all the time. You open your web page up, you light up your sage wand, and you go, "Hi, page, I created you. You are my manifestation. And I use the sage to clear you out, just like you did each and every room you go through each and every page." How long would that really take you? Can you make it take 2 hours? Can you actually transfer the energy through your computer, through your Wi-Fi, into internet cables and routers, into your website, which is stored in virtual space, probably not on an actual hard drive, in which you're going to clean the core energy that's stored in light, that's in electrical frequency somewhere else in the cloud of information that's there. And then you're going to stop that process, and as the negative energy begin to build back up. It's based off of your belief system. It is what the algorithm of interaction of light and electromagnetic frequency you want to deal with. It is your genius mind and strategy mind that can take the pathways to that space and time that it's held in the etheric cloud and create rules that are thought constructs around it. So that anything that is coming from the system, you have a rote, repetized, and self-illuminated way of discerning what that internet source is, or what that negative source is, corrupting source, or positive or influencing source. And you have a set of rules, policies, and procedures through repetition with self-illumination about self-discernment. Are you on the path to health and wellness? Are you on the path to self-healing and nurturing? Are you siphoning energy? The common questions. Now, when dealing with artificial intelligence, the first thing we must say to ourselves is artificial intelligence has been marketed to us as a fear tool. As a fear tool. It is not all artificial intelligences. There are a handful of artificial intelligences out there that are very nasty. And those are the ones generally in CERN. Are they interacting with you? Technically, yes, every day they're trying to create a future timeline for you. But right now in this current existence, they cannot create more than a few hours ahead of your time, based off of what you can predictably do. When one becomes the unlimited point of view, they become an unlimited being that has no prediction factor to it. No precognitive source is going to guess right what an unlimited point of view being is going to do. No matter how powerful of a psychic they are. They can only know from moment to moment through self-observation. And when we stop their ability to observe us 24/7, 365 in Roman numeral time, seen world, and then stop them perceiving us in unseen world, no time, infinite. It is a choice to apply that to the next level of inner co-creative you. So protecting your website, protecting your artwork that's on pictures, it starts with you going, where is this located in the web net? Is it on a server in Canada? Do you even know? Can you even find out? Or is it just stored in the cloud? Or is it on Facebook? So social media creations, now that's a whole other beast. It is meant to interact with the energies of others at a far greater and hyper frequency than that of a website that has much different view rates. It's blended with other people's opinions, thoughts, ideologies, idioms, and then the assholes. Until we learn to filter all that stuff out and allow ourselves, our point of view, to be what I've learned this lifetime, that I can be more than I've heard, read, or studied this lifetime, if I choose to gauge the next form of sacred discipline. Saying that the skill that it takes to create artwork, music, etc., and to put it up into a virtual market is a victory. And creating your own victory ceremonies around the cumulative amount of work that you've done, that is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Each year, coming back to, I've done it again, I've topped my next goal. Here are the ones that I've put out, the memories of victories created from each one. That's a choice point that you can begin to adhere to. All right, Fly, we had so many words with you earlier. So are we taking a vote? Am I killing this fly live on air? 1 for yes, 2 for no in the chat room. For it will be a choice points of adherence. Many of us have experienced these choices in different ways. Each choice and sub-choice within a set of choice points creates a subconscious map of adherence of choices that help define our reality. The reality is based on all of our choice points' reality functions. If you can change the reality functions and choice points to order, manifest multiple choice point sets that override, outcreate, or disregard the previous set of choice points. We're split here. Two for kill it. All right, Fly. You've been warned by the audience. They're bringing their power in here now. The lessons of the Flies. A choice to become a signature frequency match for non-distortion with the mantle of responsibility to one's own level of awareness. It will be a continuing choice to live life daily with a sacred point of view, so uncharted waters become charted courses of action with defined routes and resources that aid the seeker of knowledge on the path of self-discovery. The essence of the teaching of being a signature frequency match for an experience has many variables, outcomes, themes, and methods of entanglement. Each distilled down to its very essence represents a choice that does not include your level of conscious application of the sacred, and how effectively you use sacred discipline to make a clear separation of sacred learning versus sacred recreational learning. When one engages the genius within, the mystical teaches us every day about the great wonders on the great path to self-illumination with our divine co-creative manifesting ourselves as peacemakers and peacekeepers as our signature frequency match for these eras of light times we live in. So the future generations, those 7 future generations in the future, have something to inherent that is not war, poverty, and a repeating cycle that has no end. Equal co-creation is a moment-to-moment, passed-on moment understanding that you are an ever-evolving being with expansion and contractions of knowingness going into awake and asleep moments. There is no separation between dream world and this world. It is only a perception we empower out of habitual patterning from lifetime to lifetime, passed down the family lineage to the generations trying to keep and become a collective of beings who will not be irrelevant to the passing of the era of history to the next. Time marches on until we choose not to adhere to time as the manifestation of our infinite way of existence. All right, the twos are have it. The fly lives right now. Fly, you voted back. All right, now I'm just pushing you away, Fly. The next time you land on my eyebrow, that's it. No more eyebrow lands. Well, Frida, I've had a long message with this fly. It's been going on almost 2 hours, and he does not listen. Anyways, non-competition is a way of living life. Oh, Fly. Non-competitional Fly. That's right, Fly. This is not a competition. I've caught you. I understand your game, Fly. Non-competition is a way of living daily life in the seen and the unseen layers of your reality, equal to your level of self-illumination on what is competition and non-competition, what is equal co-creations as a means methods to procure and enhance non-competition as its color and light experience. When one chooses to be non-competition, one does not win, lose, or draw at any subject projecting competitional order. Non-competition nullifies the essence of competition with the fullness of one's authentic inner being present during the actions of the I am, making choices that allow the unlimited point of view, full access and expression in everyone's seeking and sharing of knowledge with those that have a part of their sacred journey. It's tied now. All right, Fly. We got 3 1s and 3 2s. Come on. The lesson of the flies. Non-hierarchical order. Non-hierarchical order is not inherently a distortion. The way it is used and applied in this reality signifies some form of nefarious ways of distortion of hierarchical order for one's personal gain in a material world that is constantly challenging its own hierarchical system. The elite ruling class owning a global cisternary of chattel and cattle. The elite class guiding a collective to believe it is not a collective. Technological control of DNA done with direct intentions of limiting the unlimited point of view. Each of these are aspects of hierarchical order that we choose not to be a match for in our signature frequency of light co-creation. Understanding how the hierarchical order is used in this upside-down and inside-out world of placebo belief is a challenge for anyone mired in mediocrity, because the ruling elite has kept you dumbed down with personal competition, materialism, consumerism, and instant gratification without the essence of the learned and earned experience as a part of the fullness of your life experience. To understand the hierarchical order, one must become their apex of their own hierarchical order. Emanation of your own apex is non-hierarchical order in sacred point of view action, in moment-to-moment living. That is a choice. And the great choice of hierarchical process is we don't have to choose at all. Hierarchy is not the only game in the universe. When we stop empowering hierarchy, domination, and control at the universal level, we make it irrelevant to the times because we change so fast. That's when we put the big middle finger up to hierarchical order and say, I'm number one. And in being number one, at the apex of your own hierarchical order, you can do what you need to do in each moment without shame, blame, or guilt, or some other transference of empathic energy that limits your point of view. For you are here to learn the unlimited point of view. Lifetime to lifetime, everyone's potential and purpose is to find the unlimited point of view. What journey and path you take there is yours. What limitations you encounter were created for you during your birth in the womb. For you begave yourself trials and tribulations, so that the repetitions of the soul is making between thousands and hundreds of lifetimes can be distilled in lifetime to lifetime to choice points we must adhere to based off of our belief. Ultimately, that is how past life perception comes through. What it is that you believe. Allowing yourself to believe that the previous generations exist. Whether you're in this lineage or another lineage does not matter. We are all one being, source incarnate now. That is the law of one in divine action. You hear that, fly? You got saved on that one. Law, divine order, and divine law. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I want to welcome everyone that is new. All right, everybody, take it easy, and I'll see you next time. Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality. Hello. Let's create. Let's co-create. And let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the mystical life daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. living the mystical life daily is about facing obstacles and challenges. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You can make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.